We had a big problem understanding the origin of the Circassian flag. And Sarah, if you wanted to record this, I'm all yours.
Right now?
Yes. So, we had our Circassian flag. That was the rallying point among Circassians to continue the struggle and defense of Circassia against Russia. This flag was all the time, as it became more and more of a symbol of the Russian struggle in the past and the present element of unification against, to unify Circassians throughout the world. We took it in front of the United Nations, we took it to Estonia, we took it to Georgia, we took it to Poland, to Germany, to England, all over the place. So as the Russians felt that this Circassian flag is becoming a strong element of Circassian unity internationally, they started spreading stories, fake stories, about the Circassian flag. And unfortunately, there are some documents written in the 19th century by someone named David Urquhart, and in essence, it's a long document addressed to the British Parliament at the time, saying in essence that through his communication with some Circassians, he was able to create for the Circassian flag and give it to them. He does mention in that document many things that don't rhyme with the facts about the Circassian flags. But then a historian, Circassian historian in Circassia, he is living today, his name is Mashrash. He wrote a book, and in that book, the name of the book is The Milling Stones, talking about Circassian tribe. He said that actually this flag is not a creation of David Urquhart. This flag is a creation of a Circassian prince, and his name is Seferbi. Seferbi left the Caucasus, went to Turkey to seek help from the Ottomans in fighting the Russians. The Russians would send letters and communications to the Turks to keep him there because he was such an effective prince in the fight. And they kept him against their will for a long period of time. So it happened that at one time he fell and he was injured in Istanbul, so they kept him in a hospital. As he was in a hospital, a Circassian princess who was married to a Turkish pastor used to visit him all the time. Seferbi he drew the flag of the Circassians. And at that time, David Urquhart was going to Circassia and the British, and their desire all the time to know what's going on. He met on a lengthy sessions with Seferbi. Seferbi pulled a drawing from his pocket while he's sitting in the hospital, and he showed Urquhart the design of the Circassian flag, the meaning of it, the stars of the tribe, the arrows that mean peace for Circassians, and the green color of the Circassian flag that resembles the mountains of Circassia and the Caucasus. He asked the Circassian princess Hanum to create actually from fabric the flag. So she brought in green silk and she stitched the stars and the arrow on the flag, and Seferbi gave David Urquhart the flag to deliver it to the Caucasus, to Circassia, as they knew that there was a big Khasa meeting of all Circassian tribes. He asked for that to be waved, that flag to be waved, and for all Circassian tribes to rally in unity behind and around that flag. So they did, and there was a guy named Nour Mohammad Haghur, who was one of the lieutenants and the generals in the war. He took upon himself to raise the flag, speak to everybody in Uganda, and tell them that we received this, and anyone who wants to stand around this flag and defend Circassia, let us know. So according to the Circassian traditions, when they agree with something that he's speaking, they take their arms and they raise it up in the air. Everyone in that valley, hundreds of thousands of Circassians, raised their arms, and that flag created the unity of the struggle against Russia for the next, from 1833, 1834 until 1864 continues. So as much as, I mean, there are two stories here, and neither one of which we can really document 100% the accuracy or the factual basis of it. However, the reality of the Circassian flag, we would like as Circassians to believe that what's written by our historian Haghur and what relates to our identity and what it can do to our future by unifying under the flag. This is the only actual flag in history that 90% of a nation perished defending that flag. They held that flag, they fought for tens of years, and 90% of that nation perished under that flag. When we were forced to go out, we wrapped that flag with us and we took it to Turkey, to Syria, to Jordan. And the time came at one point when this flag rose again, took a life of its own, and rallied Circassians around it again. That's the story that I would like to believe is the true story of the Circassian flag. Thank you very much.
Can I just make a small addition to that?
Please do.
Story about the flag.
Zeynel, please come here.
No, it's okay. I can say it's a small addition.
Come here.
Basically,
Zeynel, please.
no, it's okay. It's just an addition.
Stay here and make your speech.
I'm just going to make a very small point. It's okay. But basically, the flag or heraldry of Prince Belto Kabarda in the 16th century had a flag, or the flag or the heraldry was 3 arrows, 3 stars, and with a crescent in the middle of it. So there's also the aspect of that in the sense that his family, Janoko family, was closely related to Kabardian princely families. So they had this knowledge of the flag of or heraldry of Kabarda from the 16th century as well. So there is this aspect of it. It is now what I believe, and many people now believe, that this flag didn't come out of the blue. It was based on an existing heraldry, because the creation of national flags is actually a 19th century phenomenon anyway. Nobody had national flags before. Armies, regions, fiefdoms, principalities had heraldries, but not flags. Flags happened very later on, because it's a modern phenomenon. So those, when the flags were created, they were based on heraldries, whether their armies used, whether a certain principality of a wider, let's say, would be state used. It's usually based on these. They pick one up, and sometimes they use symbols, like if it's a Muslim state, predominant Muslim state, they would use crescents. If it's a Christian state, they would have a cross somewhere within the flag. They use it, they would mix it up with heraldry, and that is the process with almost all the flags that were created in the 19th century. So it's not just one individual creating something and just becomes widespread, but there are processes in history. Sometimes someone can become a vehicle for something to become widespread, if you like, just a vehicle. But it's not something that came out of the blue, as far as we understand it now, because the very similar design, 3 arrows, 3 stars, with a crescent in the middle, was in existence for at least 200 years prior to this flag becoming widespread. Just want to make that point. I can show you, well,
and I did not know this Zeynel before, and now this is even an added fact, Sarah, that the flag actually existed in the 16th century with the arrow and 3 stars, and the added stars, reaching 12 stars, was a development of the progress of that flag as the tribes communicated and they added the stars. So David Urquhart, it seems that the story is not really 100% accurate. It's his accuracy that this flag existed in Kabarda 200 years before.